everybody. Welcome to Task. I'm D'Angelo. I have the honor to welcome one of our brothers, Adam Plummer, and he's from Dallas. He's a Cowboys fan, and um, he's a graduate too. So he's living proof that this program works. And without further ado, with the warm welcome applause, will you welcome Adam?
While I was here, my pronouns were entitled and selfish. I also identified as super arrogant, and I was pretty forgetful too, right? Like I did so many hours over my coffee cup because back then we had to write our name on our cup. Couldn't remember to grab that for nothing. And I know like I spent 6 months in seminar and later 6 months like helping run seminar, and I was told not to cuss, and I told you guys not to cuss, but I'm gonna cuss tonight because I'm a graduate, right? But you guys do what you're supposed to do. Thank you. Oh, you can now. Okay, things have changed. But yeah, I got here and I did so many hours over my coffee cup, so many hours over those clubhouse lights, right? Like those are the worst. Like I'd go turn them on, walk away, someone in the clubhouse turns them off, and then pulls me up. It's like, dude, what the? I don't have that coming. But I do, right? I did. And I should have done better. And even though I might have done it, I should have found a way to do it better. Should have gone to coverage, let them know, hey, I turned those lights off, like cover my own ass, right? Like you got to find ownership in everything that you do. Even if it wasn't your fault, man, find a way to take some ownership in it. And like when you graduate the program, things get a lot easier, man. I wrote some stuff down, but I'm pretty much just going to like wing it tonight. Dude, there's always something that we could have done better, right? And the point is, which I often missed, is like I should be grateful for that. I had to be grateful for all those hours and all those hard times and the orange shirt and the 30, 16-hour consecutive days of not supposed to be talking to someone, but like I talked to everyone and I got my ass ripped in games, every games. And like when I got here, dude, I was a mess. Like I was a walk-in, right? So I came in off the streets, like straight out of my addiction. When I got here, I don't even remember the first few days, but I remember I was in games and like I'm falling asleep in games. And I'm taking my shoes off in games because I was like that uncomfortable and I couldn't keep my eyes open and I couldn't make it through a workday without like falling asleep standing up. And I was a mess. And Jeffrey had his hands full because Jeffrey was my welcomer. And I made Jeffrey's life pretty hard. I remember sitting in games, falling asleep, and he kept elbowing me and I didn't think that I was falling asleep, but I was. And so I was as like most people they didn't think I was going to make it when I got here. They were like, who is this guy? Because, you know, I came in from out of state. Nobody knew who I was. I looked a mess. And they just didn't think I was going to make it, right? Like they all thought I was going to leave. But now, like when people see me, they probably don't think I belong in a place like this, but like 100% did, man. This place saved my life. I found out about this place really luckily. I was on the streets in Phoenix in the middle of my addiction, like homeless, in and out of all the worst places, right? And who was it? It was Tommy. Do you guys know Tommy, the graduate? He come around. So Tommy was in corporate development. He was making phone calls looking for office furniture. And he made a phone call where a lady answered the phone and he shared the story with her and she wanted like to help the program, but she was also like, I think I know someone who needs to come to that program. The lady who answered the phone was my mom. So through that phone call that Tommy made, like I was the first, they call them hustle requests, right? Tommy hustled me into the program. And super grateful for that, man. Without that phone call, like I needed the 2 years, right? Like those 30-day, 90 days, me trying to do it on my own. That shit was never going to work, man. I fully believe if I hadn't found this program, I would be dead. I wouldn't be here. Like 100% believe that. This place not only saved my life, but it changed how I operate as a person. It changed the way I think. It changed the way I see life. It full 360-degree change from where I was previously. Let me see. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask, where's all my interns at? Can you guys raise your hands? Okay, do better. Make sure you pass that. I love you guys. You guys help run this house. Um, but yeah, man, gosh, I was an intern for nearly 5 months, right? Um, had a restart. I did a 30-day contract, and I didn't even leave the farm for the first 90 days, man. So like, you guys, orange shirt, you guys that are grinding, you guys that are going through it, man, just push through it. Like, I remember, like, it took me a long time to, like, the way I feel now, it took me a long time to feel that way. I remember being like 16 months into the program and still stressing about like what it was going to be like when I got out, like, because I still had those thoughts that run through my head, right? But I remember vividly there was like a magic turning point, and it was around 18 months in. It was before senior retreat, right? But like, that stuff eventually went away, man. My head cleared up enough to where like I didn't stress about what was going to happen when I got out. And are those thoughts that like controlled me before I got into the program, are those still going to like work the same way? Like, it all went away. But it took time, right? It took time, and it took having some faith, and it took listening to older brothers in the program like Shane and everyone else that came before me. I just had to put trust in them. And I remember like being in a gray shirt thinking like, I see all these guys like Nicholas and all those guys, you know, they were in the program when I was here, but I thought they were all faking it. I was like, there's no way these guys are telling me like to do all these things. And then when they're by themselves or in their little group, they're not like just and acting a fool, right? That's what I believed. I thought it was all a game or it was all a lie, but it's not, man. You got to really put faith into what people around here tell you. And if you just continue to do that, man, things work out really well. And the longer you keep doing the next right thing, everything just starts falling in place, man. It was so crazy when I hit my workout, everything that I needed, you know, car, place, job, friends, like everything just fell right into place without me even having to do anything. Like, it all just worked out as perfectly as it could have because I was just doing the next right thing. And I took everything that I learned here and I carried it with me, right? Like, if my girlfriend was going to come, I wish she would have. She spoke here. She did a task talk a while back, but you could ask her, like, I make my bed first thing every morning. I shave first thing every morning. I still fold my shirts the way you guys all fold the clothes. My socks, my shirts, my underwear, all goes in my drawer the same way I folded that shit here because I didn't want to lose what I had here. I didn't want to lose any of that. So I kept it with me, and it annoys the out of her, but like, tough luck, right? Like, I make her fold the way you guys fold too, just so you know. Um, and it's like, all of my success is because of this place. You know, um, I struggled for so long. I didn't know how to even like just function anymore. And now, like, I'm not trying to. I don't want to brag, but like, I've done so well in my job. Like, salesman of the month 5 times. I started in March, salesman of the month first month, right? And then another time in the summer, and then October, November, December, salesman of the month, right? So that's 5 months out of the year. That was the most out of anybody. And it's not because of like what I was before here. It's not because of like I'm super skilled at what I do. It's because of the ethic, the work ethic, and everything that Red Barn taught me. Like, it seriously came down to that. Like, I walked into that place and I just did what I did here, and boom, everything started going so well. I'm in the car business. I sell cars, right? And uh, all the success that I'm experiencing right now is because of the way I operate, and the way I operate is because of what I learned here. It's the exact same way. I got friends at work. I pull their ass up. I tell them to hold me accountable. I call them out on their, the same thing I did here, I do there. And now I've got them doing the same thing to me. Like, you teach people how to act around you, right? You teach people what to do, what not to do. And you can leave this place, and like everyone else that's graduated from here that I still talk with, that's in their job, most of them are guys who were never in that career field, and they're all killing it. Everybody who leaves here that does well, stays sober, gets a job, doesn't get arrested again, they're all killing it, right? Everybody. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's hard work. Like, a lot of our brothers have fallen off out there, right? Like, that still happens. There's a strong possibility that can happen, which is why you have to take every day here, man. Like, you can't just skirt through this program and expect things to change when you get on the other side. It's not going to happen, man. The way that you act in here will be the way that you act when you get out into the civilian life. And you have to practice it, man. And for me, a lot of what I learned here was, I I used to struggle with like thoughts in my head all the time, you know, like I would create all these false narratives in my head and I would believe them. And then I would like, my body would react to that. Like if a bear flew through the door right now, like we're going to react crazy, right? Like my body would do the same with just thoughts that weren't real. So I had to learn to like quiet it, or at least recognize that what's going on up here wasn't real. And that was a huge pivotal turning point in my stay here, was just learning how to like calm the thoughts in my head, right? Because that used to control me. Um, and I just remember going through here, just wanting more, right? But being kind of scared to really get after it, kind of worrying about what other people might think about me, worrying about who's going to be mad if I pulled them up. And then I let all that go. And yeah, you gotta you know, you have to do it for the next guy, but you gotta do it for yourself too, man. And you gotta seriously take your stay here as serious as you can, because this place can turn your life around. You can get out of here and have everything that you want. You can whatever it is, you can go out there and get it. This place will set you up for success. It set me up in a way that I never thought could happen again, man. I thought I'd be dead, and like, look at me now, you know? Um, I guess a little bit on my backstory, right? I grew up in Dallas. I'm someone who struggled with addiction my whole life from when I was like 12 in one way or another. I was super fortunate in life. I got to see a lot of the world, but I always, like, it was for whatever reason, I always struggled, man. I always had to have some substance or had to be out doing some dumb, getting arrested all the time. And things were I just always made things hard. Um, I was in Phoenix before I came here, and, you know, struggled with an addiction for like 6 years. And you can only do that for so long until, like, you know, homeless, streets, motels, jails. Luckily, like, I never did prison time. I only did a bunch of county time. So I never got there, but I was close. And when I got here, I had cases in multiple states. So I know what that's like. But through, you know, the grace of God, I found this program. And I guess that brings up another point, kind of like this place gave me spirituality. Like, I never believed in anything before I got here, and I had some real life changing experiences here. And it was always in my darkest, hardest times here. You know, it's like, it was during those times, like 3 week orange shirt, you know, like just going through it. Like, there was a time when everything volleyball, and I'm on you know, it's Saturday, right? That's when they play games. Or is that Friday? No, Saturday, right? So everybody's playing games. They're playing volleyball, and they're all done, and I'm on contract, so I got to go clean up all their and take the net down. And I'm pissed, right? Because it's like 3 weeks in, all I want to do is go play some volleyball with these guys, but now I have to go clean up their fun, right? That's the way I thought about it. And when I was like seriously going through it, man, I was like, my grandmother, who's passed away, she spoke to me through a bird that like landed right next to me. Like, it was someone who passed away. My grandmother speaking to me through a bird, and she was telling me to like have patience, and all these things are going to be okay, right? And it wasn't like a memory. Like, this was like my grandmother talking to me for real. Like, she somehow got in my head, talked to me. That was a life-changing experience for me here. And it was in the darkest, hardest time. And the way that all played out that day was such a cool, crazy experience. And then I had like 2 more experiences like that here, man. It's like things will be shown to you all the time. You just have to like have your eyes open, and you just have to be paying attention. And if you feel something, like, don't think it was just like a coincidence. Like through your hard times here, man, like, miracles happen, you know, like it's a miracle world here, right? Like, miracles freaking happen, man. So this place gave me that. It gave me my family. It gave me like a career again. Like, it gave me a place to like actually enjoy life and not have to just worry about where I'm going to sleep or if I'm going to be locked up or any of that shit, man. 15 minutes. All right. This is a lot harder than I thought. I don't know. You guys have any questions? Yeah, go ahead, dude.
I just want to say how awesome it is to see you come in here, graduating here when I got here, right? Yeah. Just know that you're doing good, to see that you're doing good, and hear your story, and it's awesome. So thank you for coming in and sharing that with us. What's your self-care looking like now? And how did it look when you were here? You know, like.
Oh yeah. So self when I was here was huge, man, and it started. It started by me doing it simply because I was being told to do it. Like I remember I was on contract and we were being, I was always told to meditate, never meditated before, but I was on contract and I would get up at 4:30. So we started the workday chain wind back then, 5. We started the workday at 5. I'd get up at 4 and I'd have like 30 minutes because I was on contract. I could actually be by myself for a minute. So I'd start to meditate, right? And that when I started meditating early on, it was just because Rich told us to do it. I didn't really think two shits about it, but I gave it a try and I started getting into it. And that really started to change my state. That's when I was like, all right, there's something to this, man. So meditation became huge for me. I had some really cool experiences with that. Then I started to read a lot. And I only started to read because they told us to, right? Like I didn't really care for the books, but I just started to take up all this information. And before I knew it, just that I was reading mostly like self-help books, that started to change the way I thought. So that was key number 2. And then the last thing I started to do was journaling. And once again, dude, I didn't give two shits about journaling, but they told us to do it. So I started to do it. And I found peace within simply just doing what was asked of me. Like it's something that comes over me. Like it's nothing you can point out, but just this overall something changed, right? Just doing these things I'm supposed to do. Like my mindset became more positive. My mental space was better. Things just got better when I started doing these things. And I can't even tell you why. I really can't. But they did get better. And then the gym, of course, so gym, books, meditation, journaling, cardio. Like these guys would see me, I'd be running. Like I did everything I can to try to better myself, man. That's what my self-care looked like. Everything that I could do. Like I was always active. I'd get up super early. Like, dude, I'd get up at 3:30 in the morning just so I could hit the gym at 4, then have like those 2 to 3 hours to myself to be able to do all that self-care. And it changed the way I felt. Like it sucks getting up. I was tired all day. I'd go into Corp B and sit behind a computer and just be like dying, fall asleep, right? But it was worth it, man. Self-care for me today, it's pretty much the same. I'm up early. I'm in the gym, doing cardio. I still read, go on hikes. I don't journal, but everything else has stayed the same. And I remember I was getting close to graduating, and I have a buddy that I was talking to on the phone that's never dealt with substance abuse or anything. He's always done real well. And he was asking me, like, are you still doing the same things that you were doing months ago? And I was like, you know what, dude, I've kind of fallen off from doing that. It's probably been a month maybe since I actually did. And he's like, what are you thinking, dude? Like, you're doing all these things that got you to this point, and now when you're at that point where you're getting ready to go, you're not doing them anymore. I was like, my bad, dude, I'll do better, And but that set off a light switch. And I was like, yeah, dude, he's totally right. And so when I left, yeah, like I meditate every morning, man. It might not be for that long. Like I might just have 5 minutes in the morning, sit down, quiet my mind, but it centers me, man, and it quiets the things that are up here, and it keeps me grounded, and it's part of what got me to where I am. So I'm going to keep doing those same things. And I have to practice that all the time, bro. So good question, man.
So will you share with us a little bit about different enterprises you spent time on, what positions you held, and which you got the most growth at?
Yeah, sure. So just like I guess things are a little different now, but moving companies, first job, like I said, it took me over 90 days to get off the farm, man. That sucked. So moving crew, and then crew lead on the moving crew. Went over Sticky Bird, not by choice the first time. It was just to kind of show the house that I was willing to do whatever they needed of me, because I wanted a better position one day, but I had to put in the work first, right? And I had to show that I was happy to do it. Even they knew I didn't want to go to the Bird, but I was going to be happy to do it just to go somewhere else one day. But then funny things happened, man. I got over to the Bird and I fell in love with that enterprise, and I fell in love with what it stood for, and I fell in love with the story behind it, and everything that Sticky Bird was about. So that became my favorite enterprise. Now, I was there for the first time for 4 or 5 months, and then they moved me over to corporate development. So that was kind of the goal the whole time. But then I got over there, and I was like, I'd rather be at the Bird, man. And so I did the Corp D thing for a little bit, probably maybe 5-6 months. I was trying to get out of there. Eventually, they brought me back to the Bird. I got to be a crew lead at Sticky Bird, help run the restaurant. I did some time at Thrift back in the day. I was on the construction company, so I was lucky enough to get to do it all, and then enjoy every bit of it. And I love the bird, man.
So I want to start by saying Adam is the very definition of a beast, man. For those of you guys that don't know him, like if I could be half the man that Adam has become, I would die a happy man. Seriously, he was my leader for a very long time. And when we talk about people giving it to you straight and telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, Adam was that guy for me a lot, man. He gave it to me raw in games. A lot of times he pulled me up for a lot of things I was so mad at him for, right? But Adam helped me a lot, man. You guys should really hear him, man, listen to him. But the question I have for you is, I'm about to go through my senior retreat this weekend. Do you have any advice for me? It's gonna go through that eventually in the program.
It sucks. For me, the week leading up to it was probably the hardest. Because you're like dwelling on that, right? And for me, in the actual moment, it was okay, right? It sucks, but it's okay. Like I said, the hardest part for me was before. And so just know, my advice for anyone about to go through it or is going to go through it, know that when you come out of it, you're like, it's cliche to say, but like you're lighter, right? All that weight's off your back. Be honest. I used to trip on that all the time. All that I carried around me, I tripped on it all the time. Now it's never a thought. All that I carried with me and I held on to is never, ever a thought. So, you'll hear all the advice from your brothers here, that you're thinking about, you don't want to say it, get rid of everything. But just know that you're going to come out of it okay. And so when I was here, I always talked about welcoming the hard times, because I realized that in those hard times, when you come out of it, you're going to be so much better. Like every struggle I went through actually led to something better. So know that hard shit you're going to go through to get through that on the other side, it's what you're looking for.
So first I'd like to say, the first experience I had with the Each One Teach One was with you. I remember I got here and it was when you were back as an intern, and John sent us over to do crates, and he's like, okay, and you said to me, okay, teach me how to do this. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, how am I supposed to teach you how to do it? Like, do you really not know how to do it? You're like, no, I do, but that's how we learn around here. And it kind of like clicked something in my head, right? And so that was a cool moment. Thanks for that. But my question for you is, how did you navigate around working around people you didn't like? Because obviously you had struggles with DeVilo in the beginning, being over in corporate with Danny. How did you navigate around that? What lesson did that teach you?
I did, dude. I kind of went straight through right into it all. Like, I didn't navigate through that very well at all. But yeah, you gotta work by people that you might not get along with, right? Like, you might not like everybody in this program, and that's okay. Like, even those people I didn't like, I still love them, right? Like, they're still me and I'm still them. So, man, you just gotta suck it up and do the next right thing. Like, it's that simple. Like, you guys can hate each other, but man, you guys are the same people, and you should care for about each other. And look, man, if you can't, at least fake it. Just fake that, man. Get through your day, make your day a lot easier. Because like if you're beefing with somebody, like you're constantly like they're running through here, you're stressed out about it, your blood pressure might be high, you're on edge. Like, why do you want to live like that? It's a lot easier just to get along with people, or at least just be okay to work next to each other, right? Because when you start beefing and arguing, like, you're gonna get hours, right? There's gonna happen. Like, just be cool with each other and get through your program. And at the end of it, you'll probably be best friends anyways. Like, that's what happens. So it's not that big a deal.
So did you excel once it started getting harder as you got further, or because it was getting easier? What challenged you the most? Was it? No, I think
it never got easier. I just started to buy in more over time. Like, it's funny because you can look at so many graduates and you're like, God, that guy must have been like a rock star in the program. But we all start out as sticks, right? Like, contract, restart, intern like 3 times. Like, I had to go back through that numerous times, right? Like, I got in a lot of trouble when I was here, and I did a lot of hours. But I just started to buy in. Like, so I think it was, I don't know, there was some huge debacle in the house, and I got caught up in it, and at that point that was kind of a turning point, like because I was kind of two different. I was a different person in each room at times, um, but I just started to really buy in, and I started to try to do what people asked of me. And it's not that I was like exceeding more than anyone else, man. I was just you just got to be happy to do it. Keep a good attitude. All the cliches they tell you here, like it's all like the way to be, man. I guess, I don't know if that answered your question or not. Good question, though.
Besides being forgetful, what was your core behavior and how long did it take for you to get control of that?
Oh, man. Shane? What's my core behavior, dudes? Entitled? Yeah, pretty entitled. Yeah. I always thought I could get away with it. I never thought there were consequences. Entitled's a good one, yeah. Maybe selfish, entitled and selfish. Dude, I'm still those things. I'm still those things. I just know how to manage it better now. I make it about other people, all the things I was taught. Like, I'm still that guy, right? I'll always be that guy. Deep down, I'll want to be that way. But I know that equals failure. That equals me going back to the old. So I just make it about doing the next right thing all the time. I make it about the next guy. I don't let shit bother me. Like, like games really changed the way I can take criticism and feedback. So like I can be at work and like, I deal with people all the time, right? I get customers who are pissed off at me and they think I'm trying to lie or cheat them or something. Like, they can get pretty funky, right? And I just have to, I just learned how to live with all that, and it's okay. It's because of what was taught here.
So, just kind of with his question there, keeping yourself accountable, how do you do that now if no one else is out there doing that for you?
It's just become habit. Enough time here, it became habit. And like I said, I kind of touched on that earlier. Like, I was worried for a long time in my program. I was worried about if I would be able to hold myself accountable when I got out of here. That was a big concern of mine. But like I said, at some point that kind of all went away. And then I just keep practicing what I do here, man. That's all it is. I just do what I did while in the program. I still do today. And it helped, I've got a girlfriend who's got almost 5 years clean, and I stay close. Like, me and Shane are in contact all the time. I talk with Azeli. I talk to a lot of other graduates to hang out with them. So my circle is work and people I graduated the program with, and that's it. Yeah.
So you said 18 months, the fog started to lift a little bit.
Yeah.
Does that mean you started to retain more, wasn't so forgetful?
I think so. That whole thing kind of just increased over time. But yeah, like everything started to change. So.
What's some advice you can give some of these young people?
A lot easier to live like this. I always kind of thought the opposite. I always thought it was easier to be that way and not give it about anything, and I give two fucks about anything but myself. But like, that shit's way harder. That's way stressful. Like I said earlier, you got to believe in what other guys around you are saying. You got to believe in what the older brothers are saying that have been here longer. You got to have faith in leadership. Like, I hate saying that because I didn't feel like that when I was here. I sound like a cop out saying that, like, leave your leadership, follow them, right? But like, it's the truth. It's the truth, man. As much as I didn't do it, don't get me wrong, I didn't do that for a long time. I paid the price, but like, you'll get tired of doing hours, right? You get tired of being in an orange shirt. You get tired of not being able to do anything you want while you're here. It's just a lot easier to do what's asked of you.
What helped? You've mentioned that 2 or 3 times, that you thought, leadership was just kind of saying stuff. Maybe they were being duplicitous. They were just acting the part. Yeah. How did that change for you? Like, what flipped that?
I think just time. The longer I was in the program, the more I saw like, oh, that's not the case. Eventually I made it into leadership and I saw it wasn't the case. But it was a choice that I made. That's what it came down to. I made the choice to buy in, because that's what it is, right? You can choose to be upset and angry and pissed off all the time, or you can choose to or you can choose to be happy. These are all choices, man. Like, for me, an orange shirt was a choice. Like, I made that choice, right? Me making it through here with a good attitude was a choice. I just chose to be happy because I was tired of being pissed off and upset all the time.
The reality of your life today, how does it compare to what you thought of would be as you was going through the program?
Better? Yeah, better, for sure. I wouldn't have expected everything to have fallen together the way that it has, man. Like, I'm killing it in my job, making good money. I live in a really nice place. I've got some good people around, like people that I didn't know in the program, like from work. Like, I've got some really good brothers at work around me. I tell them Red Barns all the time. I game their ass all the time. They're all for it. One of them was supposed to come with me tonight. I was super bummed that he didn't, but yeah, it's better, bro. Like, I thought things were gonna like work out really well, but I wouldn't have imagined that it's as good as it is today. Yep.
It's not a question, but I just want to say something. I see my other older brothers over here just in a black shirt and green shirt and all that. And they always make me believe that this building there's magical to it.
Yeah.
And I see the other ones, they always pull up, come check up on me. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But just tonight, you really just like opened up my eyes to the truth, That like all the questions I've been asking myself, essentially, I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Go.
What is one of the biggest things you took from Red Barn?
I can't put my finger on it because it's everything. It's the ability to stand here today and talk to you guys, right? It's the ability to like drive around freely, my freedom, my health, my mental state, like it's all that, everything.
If you go back and do it over, two things you'd change.
Like while I was in the program,
Yeah.
I would have pulled his Elliot more. Nothing. Nothing. I'll keep it the exact way it is, man, because life's good now. So I did something right.
So I'm sure you've been exposed to maybe alcohol or tobacco or things of that sort, and I'm sure you were a user, in your addiction. How do you resist those things?
It's a choice. I just made that choice to resist it, man. When I came out of here, I wasn't going to start vaping again. I wasn't going to start dipping again or any of that shit. It was a choice. Alcohol is, you just can't. I just can't. Like I was never an alcoholic, but alcohol always led to dumb decisions, and the worst happens when you drink. So it was just, for me, I never wanted to be back in that way again. So it wasn't too much of a struggle. Like, that's an easy choice for me. Tobacco is harder. Alcohol is like, I don't want that.
People who use it, or
No, because I'm around people who use it.
Like, everybody at my work, everybody in the friggin' world does. It's just a choice, just like everything else, man. That's what it was for me. I have to choose not to, because I wanted to keep doing, like I said, man, I make my bed every morning, fold my clothes the same way, right? Shave every day. Let's do the same thing I did here.
Would you say that becoming more selfless, right?
Yeah.
Gave you more self-respect, self-love?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels a lot better to be that way. Yeah. Yeah.
you still do active service?
Go on.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I go out of my way in every deal that I'm in at work, man. I go out of my way to try to like go above and beyond for people. So yeah, the way I carry myself, the way I work around people, I try to be of service nonstop. That's how I view my job.
What would you say to people? I've seen it a lot in the program. Dudes that basically, it almost seems like they traded addiction for the gym, right? Because you were always pretty, you did for a minute, but you're way more well-rounded now. You've got all your other stuff. What advice would you give to somebody like that? Like, oh, if I can't get to the gym, I'm gonna be a wreck tomorrow.
Well, yeah, that's the wrong mindset. Dude, I don't know. I might be the wrong person to ask that question, because it's like, dude, be in the gym as much as you can. Like, that's kind of the way I see it. But you can't be upset about missing it. Like, you're not gonna kill your gains. You're still gonna get them. But I guess it's just like everything else, man. You have to be okay with it, right? Like I miss my freaking girlfriend makes me go to a dinner and I miss the gym, right? But I'm not going to be upset about it, right? Or like I'm going to miss the gym tonight because I get to speak to you guys. I'm not going to be upset about that. It's all a choice whether you're okay with it or you're not. Like I'm saying here is right. Be okay with it. That's really all it is. I don't know. Is that kind of where you're going with that? Something to change time, Shane. You guys got any more questions? This one is, yeah.
How many miles do you run? Do you still run?
Yeah, I still run on the treadmill. It's too cold right now. I know I ran in the snow here last winter, but I'm not doing that now inside. Just a mile at night, bro. Right now, it's just about lifting. I don't do a whole lot of cardio, but yeah, just to keep my lungs good, you know, don't run a mile. Yeah. Yeah, like we do a lot of hard gear, right? A lot of big challenges and, you know, like climb big ass mountains and there's a lot of stuff to overcome. We do a lot of really hard things. I just want you guys to know that I beat a Zelly in the game of one-on-one basketball and I outlifted him at FTR. So we can all do some hard things.
Oh yeah.
I do have one more question. So you talked about being in your head a lot throughout your stay.
Yeah.
Even hitting like, 14, 16 months, being in your head about what was after. But on the flip side, man, like the last 3 months of your program, that like 18 to 21 before you started your workout, you didn't check out. To be honest, like you engaged more.
Yeah.
You were on fire every time you were in games. The feedback you were still giving, and you gave the program your all for the last couple months. And so like what advice would you give just to because everybody at some point is going to get to that stage, right? Before they work out and whatever, right? And so how did you still like be in your head or not be in your head and not check out?
It was, like I said, man, it was a choice. Like cause I truly believe that the way I acted in the program was going to be the way that I acted out in life. Right. I truly believe that. I told people that in games like all the time. I saw so many people taking it easy and it's like, bro, if you can't even do that here, how are you going to do it out there? So to prepare myself to be as successful as I could be, I took those last 3 months here as serious as I can, man. And the feedback I was giving was like, I was giving it to myself, right? Like really, that's what it came down to. I'm telling all these people this, but if I'm saying it, I got to live it, right? So I just try to like go as hard as I can. I try to give as much love to everyone as I could so that if I'm saying it, I got to live it. And I wanted to create these habits of success and of like always be one to like go and get it. Don't be lazy, get after it. Like no matter what your job is here, you always have to perform. You got to bust your ass, right? Moving, nonstop moving. And Corp D, nonstop phone calls. Like wherever you are, you're working nonstop, right? And I knew that if I took the way I acted here into the real life, these civilians and people that are on their phones all day aren't going to have on me. Like it's seriously all it takes. You don't have to have any skills. You don't have to have any previous knowledge in this or wherever job you can get out of here. Like you'll outperform everybody. Everybody does this all day. This is all they do. This is it. They won't even look at you, man. It's so easy. You take what you learn here out in the real world and you'll be successful. So that's why I did it. That's why I went as hard as I can in those last few months. So I was building a new me, like the whole say you're building a new you, right? But I really took it serious those last few months because I wanted it. You have to want it, right? Zelly.
Taking it as a third year, or no, not as a second, as a workout, and as a third year, we learned to go to meetings and have a schedule and stuff like that. Do you still do those things? Do you still go to any kind of like recovery meetings like AA or FTR?
Yeah, but for meetings, I made the choice that wasn't for me. I've done things like that in the past, but it just didn't feel right this time around because of the way that we function here. Like we don't glorify, we don't talk about our past or any of that. So that's the way I still live today. And going to NA meetings, the exact opposite of that, right? So it works, like it's great if it works for you, but it wasn't for me, right? So everyone's recovery path is different, but dude, my meetings are coming in and talk to you guys, or coming in checking in, or hanging out with Shane and going bowling with a fam. Like that's, and then schedule wise, yeah, like I'm up at the same time every day. That's huge. My mornings are the exact same. I do the exact same stuff before I go to work. get off work, hit the gym. So I'm on schedule. I know what I'm doing before, 2 weeks from now. Like I know what I'm going to be doing because it's the exact same. I kept everything the same. Just like I said earlier, everything I did here, I'm still doing where I'm at. Just don't have you guys there with me, and I don't have you guys to make my coffee. I have to tell my girlfriend to do it. So yeah. She's my intern now. She's my intern. Yes. Dude, ask her, bro. Yeah.
So, when you were here, did you participate like in the welding or culinary arts? And, do you still continue to do?
Yeah, the culinary class, I loved it. Chef Neil was awesome. I had a great time doing that. And yeah, I mean, I still cook and I still practice. Like his whole thing is simplicity meets perfect execution. So just, everything's super simple, follow some instructions and like your food will come out great. So yeah, I took advantage of that and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I probably learned how to cook a little better from it too.
So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And vitamin basketball. Nice.
Man, what does your life look like now?
Feel like? Oh, what does it look like? It looks awesome, dude. I went snowboarding on Sunday. I'm going snowboarding tomorrow. Going on a cruise next summer. Going to Denver in March. Selling a bunch of cars. I'm able to save money. I'm able to buy things I want. I'm able to like not buy things I want because I'm smart. You know what I mean? I used to like just blow money, not anymore. I'm able to like I have other hustles, I have other investments, I got things going on that I'm taking part in. Like everything I've got going on is because of this place. I'm really trying to still become the best version of myself that I can. That was kind of my way of thinking while I was here, and I'm still doing it.
Adam, I appreciate you. Well, we appreciate you coming to share your story, taking the time out of your day to come here and share your story. And I just want to say that you helped me see the bigger picture on being grateful for the small things and just how you kept it real, really.
Nice.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Give him another round of applause. All right, everybody, that's task.
Yeah.